turning from an entrepreneurial journey to turning into an investor.
Investor, yeah.
It would be good to sort of recall that era when you became an entrepreneur and then an investor, and what the landscape looked like in the early 2000s, right? And I'm sure we are at a very different place. Just getting a sense of the journey of the landscape.
Yeah, there was no startup ecosystem, right? So we have spoken about it in the book. So I'll not dwell too much into it. But as investors, when we started out in Erasmic, we really did not have a set of entrepreneurs who would come and pitch us and seek for money. So you almost had to go seeking for entrepreneurs and seeking for ideas. So we have come from then to today, right? And you also did not have other funds in the country to look up to, or other funds in the country to work with. So you pretty much were the only fund pretty much in Bangalore, right? It was quite adventurous, to say the least.
In fact, Flipkart deal that you guys did was probably an iconic, risky bet that you seemed like. Tell us a bit about.
Yeah, huge. And we had an analyst, an associate, with us, Abhishek Goel, right? So
Okay.
Abhishek was roommates or was staying in the same community as Sachin and Benny, and that's how he had almost like a ringside view on what is happening with that startup. So his ability to connect us and help us see what they were constantly innovating and changing, and because they kept doing something new every month, every week, and they would come and present that to us, and we were in a sense wowed, wow. And Abhishek finally pushed us to say, come on.
You guys were dismissive in the beginning?
Of course we were dismissive, because we just didn't know what to expect, right, from e-commerce. And we also had this fear of e-commerce being a big money play, and we were a very small fund. So I think a combination of this, and e-commerce in those days in India was non-existent for two reasons. One, no connectivity. And second, I think the idea that you need to build something that was customer first, and that in the tech world was not, I mean, the whole consumer world had not kind of pervaded, the consumer obsession, consumer thinking had not pervaded in the tech world. So even if if a tech person started a venture in those days, I think they didn't come from a consumer first frame of mind. So Sachin and Binny, I think, was what we started observing, was what was their unique differentiation, that they had the customer in the center of their initiatives, what they wanted to make a difference, how they wanted to change the e-commerce industry in India. And we finally gave in and said, yes, we will invest. And Subrato has played a very key role. He was more involved in Flipkart than me, right? So he was on the board of Flipkart, and was very active in the early days in co-creating a lot of what happened in Flipkart.
Is that the biggest deal that you would have done at Axel in terms of the biggest
It is still among the biggest deals in the country.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So I don't think there's any other deal that has since happened yet.
What, $16 billion buyout, no?
Buyout, and just recently they again bought out at almost twice that valuation.
Yeah.
So at 35-40 billion, I think it is the biggest company ever built in India. So it's very, very hugely privileged to have intersected with Sachin and Binny, and having somebody like Abhishek Goel in our team,
Who's founder of Traction, right?
Founder of Traction, right? So, and Mahindran, who was our other co-founder, was very instrumental in helping them with the regulatory challenges which were there in the ecosystem at that point in time in e-commerce. So it was a combination of all of us that really made Flipkart work.
For stories like this, keep following us. From Code to Culture, our podcast. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media.